Welcome back to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit. Today we're diving into a seismic shift shaking the North American automotive and trade landscape. For decades, Canada and the US shared one of the world's tightest automotive ecosystems. Engines, steel, and entire supply chains flowed seamlessly across the border. But now, the gears have jammed. With the US debt hitting $37 trillion and tariffs cranking up to record highs, Canada isn't just holding steady, it's rewriting the rulebook. Let's break down how this realignment is reshaping debt, trade, and most of all, the cars we drive. Debt and tariff shock, the perfect storm. Mid-2025 delivered a milestone no one expected so soon. The U.S. national debt blasting through $37 trillion, a figure once projected for the 2030s. Pandemic borrowing, successive tax cuts under Trump and Biden, and the 2025 Big Beautiful Bill all fed into a debt avalanche now growing by nearly $1 trillion every 5 months. Washington's answer? Tariffs. On August 1st, it slapped a 35% duty on Canadian imports, cracked down on rerouted goods, and reinforced Section 232 tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos. Justifications ranged from national security to fentanyl trafficking, but the real hit landed on consumers and automakers. Detroit, already battling labor costs and expensive EV batteries, saw Canadian aluminum and steel, critical for frames, panels, and drivetrains, spike in price. Dealers now report sticker increases of $1,200 to $2,500 per vehicle, pushing buyers out of the market. Instead of bending Ottawa, tariffs revealed Washington's own weaknesses: ballooning debt, high interest rates, and costlier goods. Rather than cornering Canada, the U.S. set the stage for its northern neighbor to seize new leverage. And that set the tone for Canada's unexpected response, a resilience that turned defense into offense. Canada's resilience: boycotts, diversification, and new alliances. Many expected Canada to fold under tariff pressure. Instead, Ottawa turned the trade war into a rallying cry. The Buy Canadian movement swept the nation, driving boycotts of U.S. goods, reshaping shopping habits, and slashing cross-border travel. U.S.-branded alcohol sales in Canada plunged more than 60%, while tourism flipped. More Americans visited Canada than Canadians traveling south, a symbolic reversal. Prime Minister Mark Carney, sworn in March 2025, declared the old model of dependency over. His One Canadian Economy Act pushed to dismantle interprovincial barriers and upgrade rail, highways, and digital grids, uniting Canada into a single economic engine. Diversification followed fast. The U.S. share of Canadian exports fell from 78% to 68% in just a year, while UK exports surged fivefold, led by record gold shipments. Europe, Japan, and Australia also logged double-digit growth. Most critically, Canada turned to Mexico, with joint port, energy, and logistics investments backed by $2 trillion Canadian dollars in pension funds. Canada is no longer playing defense. It's writing its own playbook for long-term independence. Before we delve deeper, do us a favor. Smash that like button and hit subscribe to Piston Pundit. It helps us reach more auto enthusiasts just like you. Now let's shift gears and steer into the auto sector itself, where supply chains are being rewired under pressure. Automotive realignment, supply chains, and rules of origin. No sector shows the shock more clearly than autos. Cars and trucks make up about 15% of Canadian exports to the U.S., with engines, transmissions, and parts crisscrossing the border multiple times before assembly. Tariffs didn't stop this flow, but they made it far more expensive. Automakers faced two choices: fully meet USMCA's 75% content rule, or pay tariffs. Roughly 65% of Canadian-built vehicles already qualify, but others, especially EVs with Asian battery components, remain exposed. To fix this, GM and Stellantis are shifting battery supply chains into Canada, boosted by Ottawa's EV incentives and mineral reserves. Consumers feel the hit. By summer 2025, the average Canadian-made SUV cost U.S. buyers $1,500 to $2,000 more. Trucks and crossovers sit unsold, while Canadian buyers, driven by patriotism, keep demand alive at home. Geography is shifting too. Cargo once bound for Detroit now flows through Halifax, Vancouver, and Montreal, with rail hubs in Alberta and Ontario linking directly to Mexico. And while autos show the costs clearly, another Canadian lever, energy, has quietly given Ottawa leverage tariffs can't touch. Energy, Canada's quiet advantage. If autos are Canada's pistons, oil is the torque behind them. The U.S. imports more crude from Canada than any other nation, locked into pipelines and refineries designed for Canadian heavy crude. Unlike auto parts, these flows can't be easily swapped. Any disruption would spike U.S. gas prices and ignite political backlash. This dependency gives Ottawa quiet leverage. Even as rhetoric hardened in 2025, oil exports south stayed steady, while rising global prices boosted Canadian revenues. Those profits are being reinvested into pipeline upgrades, LNG terminals, and renewable projects, cementing Canada's energy dominance. Energy prices ripple through the auto sector. Higher crude pushes up plastics and transport costs, while making hybrids and EVs more appealing to buyers squeezed at the pump. Ironically, America's reliance on Canadian oil helps bankroll Canada's push into EV incentives and global trade independence. Canada is also using oil wealth to strengthen ties with Mexico, funding solar and wind projects through the Maple 8 pension giants. With autos adapting and energy empowering, Canada's bigger picture becomes clear, a new trade map for North America. Redrawing the North American Playbook. By 2025, North America looks transformed. Canada, once the junior partner, has flipped the balance. Its exports to the U.S. fell 10 points in a year, while markets from London to Jakarta surged. Energy exports remain vital, autos are adapting, and infrastructure is being rebuilt to bypass U.S. choke points. The U.S., meanwhile, is reeling. Alcohol exports to Canada plunged over 60%, auto part orders shrank, and border retailers saw profits thin. Tourism flows reversed. More Americans now visit Canada than the other way around, while Canadian travel south dropped nearly 40%. Investment trends tell the story. To shield from tariffs and unpredictable policy, U.S. firms are moving production lines north, bringing jobs, R&D, and capital into Canada. Washington's strategy is backfiring, fueling Ottawa's rise instead. For Canada, this is long-term architecture, diversified trade with Mexico and overseas markets, energy leverage, and a hub-and-spoke model with Ottawa at the center. Which raises the big question. Verdict: has Canada truly taken the driver's seat? What began as Washington's tariff offensive now looks like Ottawa's breakout moment. Instead of crumbling, Canada doubled down, mobilizing a national boycott, forging the Maple Aztec axis with Mexico, and leveraging oil into quiet power. Its auto sector is adapting, its infrastructure modernizing, and its trade links broadening. Meanwhile, the U.S. stumbles under debt and policy whiplash. So where does this road lead? Has Canada truly seized the wheel of North American trade, or is this just a detour before Washington regroups? One thing is clear: the center of gravity is shifting, and Piston Pundit will be here to track every twist and turn. Before we wrap up, we want to hear from you. Do you think Canada can sustain this new trade leadership, or will U.S. pressure eventually force a rollback? How much of a role will energy dominance play in shaping the auto industry's future on both sides of the border? And do you believe American automakers can adapt fast enough? Or are we watching Detroit lose ground for good? Share your thoughts in the comments. We want to know your take. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to stay notified on the next vehicle updates and deep dive breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been Piston Pundit. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.